it's borderline amazing at this point. I think what they've done is amazing, considering the level of attrition that they've had with injuries, with guys that aren't available, and we know who they are from the starters. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby's out of there. You just got Matt Brash back in a game, which was great to see, but you're without Robles, you're without Rayleigh, you're without Bliss, you're without Dylan Moore. Julio's not hot yet. I mean, just all of these things that would you could use as an excuse as to why a team isn't performing well. And here they are, and they've won 8 consecutive series. It's borderline amazing at this point. I would definitely call it a hot start. They're in first place. They're decidedly better than I think anybody anticipated. And for me, in saying that this team needed to get off to a hot start, it was about the fans. It was about sort of the apathy of the fans, or the cynicism of the fan base, which I think is warranted. I don't blame any fan for feeling that way, but I felt like if they came out of the gate slow, and after 20 games they're 10-10, or they're under 500, and after 30 games they're under 500, I think there are a lot of fans that would just check out and go, see, told you they weren't going to be any good. They didn't do anything in the offseason. So I think it was, for me, it was more important for this team to get off to a fast start, to kind of bring the fan base in and get them believing, or at least get them excited to watch the team each night. I mean, look, there's still a lot of baseball left. There's still a ton of the season left. A lot can happen, good or bad. Enjoy it while it's happening, and hopefully fans are doing that, because again, we don't have any idea how things play out down the road. I think it's a little bit of everything, which sounds like a cop-out, but it's true. I think Dan and Edgar and Seitzer have certainly had an impact on the way the team plays. I think they're much more aggressive on the base paths. You're seeing a completely different level of aggression up at the plate. They lead Major League Baseball in walks. So you see a lot of guys who, whether you look at Randy Arozarena, or you look at some of the averages that are barely 200, but then you look at their on base and it's 360, 355, 370. So you see a lot of disparity between average and on base percentage, because guys are up there taking their walks. That includes Julio. I mean, that's, if you're not going to be able to get up there with a hit, you haven't found your rhythm yet. The idea that they're not chasing, and they're not pressing, and they're not, expanding the zone for the opposition, that I'm going to chalk that up to Edgar. I'm going to chalk that up to Seitzer. A lot of it is health, though. I mean, you're seeing a healthy J.P. Crawford, who's absolutely on fire and looks like a completely different version than the one we saw last year, who was dealing with injury. And the same is true for Polanco. Even though he's still technically injured, he's not hitting from the right side yet. He's not playing in the field. He's mashing from the left side. So 2 guys that got their health back, and Polanco to a certain extent right now, but you see the impact it has. So I'm going to look, some of it is health, but a lot of it is the philosophy of Edgar and Seitzer and Dan, and hopefully that trickles down to the guys that aren't hitting, to Julio, to Luke Rayleigh when he gets back, when he's healthy. He's another guy who is struggling. So hopefully it trickles down to everybody, but I think you're seeing that patience, and you're seeing them not force it, even though the average and the hits aren't coming. They're taking the base on balls. I think it's huge, because I was actually just looking at the numbers of the pitching staff last night, and every category you look at, whatever column you want to look at, is something as simple as ERA, something as simple as WHIP, or what have you. They're middle of the pack to lower in all of those categories. And we came into the season going, this is the best 5 in baseball, and obviously you got the injury. Kirby hasn't even stepped on the field yet. Logan is hurt. We're still waiting for Bryce Miller to become Bryce Miller. He doesn't even have a quality start yet. Yet the team is this hot, and it's because the offense, you want to go through every single category they have, they're top 10. They're the top 10 offense in baseball right now, with the Mariners in the pitching staff, by the numbers, is mediocre to below mediocre in terms of rankings. So it's not what anybody expected. And getting those 2 guys back is going to be massive. I mean, look, with all due respect to Logan Evans, maybe he's not ready. First start was nice to see. It was a pretty solid start for him. He got roughed up in this last one. He's a young guy. I'm not going to hold it against him. You expect it. But even Emerson Hancock, he's a guy who's just very adept at giving you a quality start, giving up 3 runs, giving you 6 innings roughly. He's going to keep you in the game. Whereas you've got the possibility with Kirby and Logan of being electric and being shut down. So you don't really have that element with the young guys, at least at this point. talking about Hancock and Evans. So I just think that, it kicks it up a notch, and maybe this rotation starts to resemble what we expected coming into the season. I think it'll even out a bit. Look, I don't think Leo Rivas is going to have a 500 on-base percentage throughout the rest of the season. He's been huge. The guy gets on base every other at-bat. Polanco, you got to believe he's going to cool off at some point. Maybe JP cools off a little bit. Hopefully when those things happen, you're going to see Julio step up. You're going to see some of the other guys who haven't hit their stride yet step up, and it balances out the offense. And in turn, I think I've got absolute faith and belief the rotation will get back to what we expected. It just, look, again, you started without Kirby. Logan goes down. A couple of guys, Luis Castillo's been pretty solid. Had a couple of starts that weren't awesome, but he hasn't gotten lit up either. He's had a couple of nice starts. Brian Woo's been the ace of the staff. If we just want to go who's been the best pitcher in this rotation to this point, it's been Brian Woo. But I think getting those guys back, it just goes a long way into ramping up the competition that we saw with each of them. One guy kind of sets the bar with his start. Next guy wants to go out there and at least match what that guy did. So getting those two back is going to be huge. And I do expect things to even out. Talking about the numbers, rotation will start creeping up in terms of their rankings. Maybe the offense takes a little bit of a step back, but I think the offense, just in terms of the approach, I expect to see that level of discipline at the plate in terms of not chasing and taking walks at the rate that they are.